Okay, so we're going to use a programming environment, as they call it, to help us write our programs for introduction to programming using Python. And this environment will bring us the ability to use Python in a couple of different ways, more than a couple different ways. And it'll keep track of any other programs that we need and take care of a lot of what is kind of under the hood, if you will, in computer programming. This Anaconda program really will do a lot for us. And it's kind of optimized for people who want to write programs in Python. It was invented for data scientists, the people who go out and access databases, public or private, and pull in all that data to their own computer and then crunch on it using Python programs and other tools. And then they make whatever inferences they make from the data and do their job. But it turns out that Anaconda is great for any kind of programming, especially where Python is the programming language of choice. So we're gonna download and install Anaconda, and it's going to provide for us a way to write Python programs where we can even just write a little piece of the program and try it out. And it's going to provide a way for us to document our programs by adding comments to the actual code, and also kind of informative, pretty documents with, bold fonts and downloaded pictures and whatever else diagrams and that sort of thing, whatever else helps explain what the code is doing. And, that's really the state of the art in programming, as far as I'm concerned, is to build programs that are easy to explain to other people, that you can share with other people, and that you can look at yourself and quickly remember what it was that you did in writing this program, so you can use the program again. And reusability is huge in programming nowadays, because the demand is to keep technology moving. That means the programs have to keep going forward, and many of the tasks that your programs do may be called upon again and again. So if your program can be written in a reusable fashion, then more powerful programs could call your programs, and so on and so forth, and you wind up with a very productive and powerful programming environment. So Anaconda it is. And Anaconda is built on Conda, which keeps track of all those other programs we might need that are under the hood, or that we may actually specifically say, hey, I want this helper program or something. Conda keeps track of the latest versions of those and everything. Python is the programming language, and this Python installer program, pip, is similar to Conda in a way. It keeps track. It's a package manager also, and keeps track of helpful programs. But that'll all be taken care of by the Anaconda system. So we're going to download it onto a Windows 10 machine and install it, and prove that we installed it. We'll run some hello world type thing in Python. Now, I type Anaconda for Windows 10 in my search bar, and I get, all this kind of stuff here. This one looks especially promising. Installing on Windows Anaconda documentation, and it's from anaconda.com, so I have confidence in that. So I right-clicked on this and chose Install in a new tab, and here's the tab. And it says installing on Windows, but you'll see that it also has installing on Mac OS, on Linux. So this Conda is really useful, because you can share it with anybody regardless of their operating system. And you can share fragments of programs, entire programs, bunches of programs. This is this is just great as far as I'm concerned, and based on my programming experience. The next thing we're going to do is download the Anaconda installer. There's some things up here that let you know that, if you're not in an educational or personal use situation, you might need to purchase a license to use Anaconda. If you're a commercial developer and that sort of thing. But we're not in that case, so we're going to download the Anaconda installer. I should go back and say that for us especially, there's an indication over here. Oh, the license for the personal Anaconda is GNU GPL, or GNU public license, and so which means it's free software in the sense that anyone can use it without having to purchase a license. And so, GNU is an organization that fosters the use and the production of free software by people contributing their times to their time to help create the programs. And Anaconda is one of these programs that people have contributed to. And so the individual version is free and open source, meaning you can actually get the source code for it. And Anaconda is used by this Red Hat company, Oracle, Scientific Linux, all these companies, CentOS, all these people, Fedora, all these people use it as a programming tool. So it has a wide basis and is well supported and understood in the programming world. So back to downloading this thing. We have a thing here. It says, number one, download the Anaconda program. Now I right-clicked and did open link in new tab, and I got this thing. And I clicked download. Now a couple things will happen. You'll see up here that it's going to download the program. Now I'm going to stop that because I've already downloaded it previously, but you would just let it download. And this Anaconda Nucleus, my recommendation would be to create an account with Anaconda Nucleus, if nothing more than to keep up with the latest releases and any important notes there. And so you would put in, let's say, your stick email address, and you would create a strong password, either using a password tool or one that you can remember and that is strong. And you'll have to replicate that password here to confirm it. Of course, you'll check the I have read and agree to Anaconda's privacy policy, blah, blah, blah. I'm not too worried about Anaconda on a privacy basis. And you would click I'm not a robot and, to get started thing. But I already have an Anaconda Nucleus account myself, so I'm going to not do that. And I'm going to go ahead and run that installer program, which was downloaded. Let's see here. I click this again, and I get rid of that. Oh, every time I do that. Well, let's take a look here. I'm going to kill these off. And there's this file. Now, when you're done, they'll give you a chance to open that file. But if somehow you're not sure, you can go down on your Windows 10 machine and look in your downloads. The program starts with Anaconda. You could probably type just Anaconda, and that'll give you web results. Or you could type downloads. And local disk here, you see one here called downloads. You would go there, Anaconda installer, so you can double click that. If you have it up here, you can just click the thing that says open file. All right, so either way, you could either, if you still have this on your machine, you can open the file that way, or if you have to, you can type downloads down here. It'll bring up a file explorer, and then you can go look for all that stuff. So I'm going to put this down here, and I'm going to type next. I'm going to agree. You can say just me or all users, but if you do all users, it requires admin privileges. Just me is fine on your computer. I'm going to do all users on mine for other reasons. It's going to say, do you want to let this program make changes on your computer? We do, so I'm going to click yes. And it's going to come up and say, well, let's use this destination folder, C:\program data /Anaconda 3. That's where we want to go. So we'll click this thing here, next. It's going to require 3 GB of space, and we've got, in this case, I've got about 50 GB available. So typically I do add path variables on Windows installations, but they're not recommending it for Anaconda, so I'm not going to do that. This might come out differently on a Linux machine, or it may not even appear. So, because Linux and Mac OS handle that kind of thing a little more automatically. So let's click install, and this will actually take a few minutes. It'll get out about 90% of the way there, and then spend another 90% of the time finishing out the installation. So we'll watch this thing install. Pardon me. Like watching paint dry. And I suppose in the meantime we could talk about other places you can find help for programming on Python. There is a python.org website. So let me bring back up our thing here. We'll just let this guy work over here. Like that. And let's look at python.org. And one can download their own Python installation, which will work great and all that sort of thing, but we're going to use some more capabilities that Anaconda adds to Python. Pardon me. That it adds it in terms of a programming environment that you can use. But there's documentation here, about downloads, documentation, audiovisual talks, beginner's guide, developer's guide, docs here, just and there's forums and that sort of stuff where you can get information about how to program in Python. It's not it's not unlikely that if you typed in some kind of Python question into your favorite browser or search engine, that some of the answers would actually come from python.org's forums and that sort of thing. So, and of course up here you can search for things in Python. You can search for things like the print statement Python. And when I do that, there's all these kind of things about print statements you can do. You could type in here, search python.org. You can search. We'll be talking about lists. Oh, these mailing lists. That one, that word is a little too general purpose. Variables, that kind of thing. But probably you would probably search for this stuff, syntax for variable notations, that sort of thing. Well, we've completed our install over here. You would. My recommendation is just to use your search engine to search for things about Python, and but just python.org is kind of the home of where official Python documentation, that sort of thing, resides. So our installation was complete. Let's click next. It says working with Python and Jupyter Notebooks. This Jupyter Notebooks is what's going to be really nice to get us up and running in Python without having to do a lot of scaffolding or building of other things. We'll be able to jump right in and execute little parts of Python programs. But working with Python and Python Notebooks is a breeze with PyCharm Pro, designed to be used with Anaconda. Download now and have the best data tools at your fingertips. Remember, Anaconda sort of talks to this data research specific audience, but it's great for everybody. So I'd say yes. In fact, I recommend, you're going to probably need this in the course. I'd say, yeah, let's install PyCharm Pro in addition. And now it says completing the setup. We say finish. And what comes up is for full access, register for Anaconda Nucleus. Now you may have already done that. And down the bottom it says already have an account, sign in. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to sign in. That's how trusting I am. So now I'm in Anaconda Nucleus. There's getting started videos here, and this website uses cookies. Yeah, sure, we're all good with that. So there's a getting started video here that's 11 minutes long, which is really useful. 12 minutes long if you want. And it gets you started, and you actually do something with a little bit of data and all that sort of thing. So that's our installation. Now, in order for us to launch Anaconda, I would suggest we go to Jupyter Notebook here. Just going to look and see if anything else related to it is in here. Now it says Anaconda 3 down here, and you'll see Anaconda Navigator. And let's try this out. And a bunch of things happen. And then you'll see this green Anaconda curled back on itself icon. And it's coming. And here's the Anaconda Navigator. I'm going to put this down here. Now, on some machines, this may launch within a web browser, and this may actually be within a web browser. I'm not sure because I haven't run this on Windows before. But if you look on here, a couple of things to kind of point out. the first things we'll want to launch are Jupyter Notebook. All right, that's the first thing. This Jupyter Lab is kind of an interesting addition. But Jupyter Notebook, and then PyCharm Professional is down here. We also have access to the normal Windows command prompt as well as a PowerShell prompt. So, that kind of stuff is can be very handy. And we'll probably, we might refer to them or something like them in the course of this course. The course of this course, yeah, there we go. In the course of our semester. But let's launch Python Notebook. And this will kind of prove that everything is working great. Now, Python Notebook will launch within a browser window. You can see I'm in my browser, and there's a bunch of stuff here. Some of the files I have in my system, directories and that sort of thing. But what I want to do is see this new right over here. I want to go to new Python 3 IPY kernel, and I want to click on that. And now I have a Jupyter Notebook here. Notice it's Jupyter, spelled for Python. You have to be clever. And probably, copyrightable or something. So we have a new Jupyter Notebook here, which we can write in Python in. And this is an interesting thing because the Jupyter Notebook is arranged in these cells. So we can actually type our first statement in Python, which would be print left parentheses hello, comma world exclamation point, and the right parentheses put in for you, but I typed it. And so we type this, and now if we type return, we hit our return key, it takes us and we get to print another line to type in another line of Python. But instead of that, we're going to hold down Shift and hit Enter, and it runs this one statement in Python, which is kind of cool because a lot of programming languages you have to write the entire program before you can see what it does. In Python, in Jupyter, which was called IPython Notebook. If you have any experience in that, just to let you know it's the same thing. With Jupyter, we can run just a line here and see the results. And, we can also add cells and delete cells and that sort of thing. So I recommend that you carefully take the 12-minute video. That is, where is it? No. Wherever it was, that you take that video and here's our download page. Here we go. It's on this particular place right here, and I will capture this. I will capture this URL right here and put it in the class website so that you can have it in case you, like I did, just bobble your way away from it. But it teaches you, it has you go and get some data and a table somewhere and download it. And these notes and everything are step by step, and you can kind of see what this Jupyter Notebook thing is all about. I really think it's quite something and a great way to learn programming, and actually a great way to program. And I think people in the technical world using programs really appreciate this kind of thing where you can document your code. So we've installed the Anaconda package, the Anaconda system, and we've used Anaconda Navigator. And in Anaconda Navigator, we used Python Notebook. And hopefully during the course, we'll get a chance to try a couple of these other things here. And that will be that'll be a lot of what we'll be doing in the course as we learn Python and learn some of the basic concepts of programming, so that you can you can write some programs, and whether they use external data that you may grab, or they compute some number, or sort something for you. The basics of programming are what you're going to get a hold of in this course. So once again, we're looking forward to exploring Python together with you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.